Welcome back to the channel.
Alright, so Gavin's over here getting his welded chassis done. I think this one's going to Virginia, I think he's from. So these welded chassis are kind of going all over the country. This one, you guys saw the last one. That one's going to Georgia, and we're gonna put the body on it. But this one will just be bare chassis. He's gonna come pick it up. So just some shop updates for today. We've had a lot of work getting done past couple weeks. Didn't update last week, it was Memorial Day, so a lot going on. We got a new car over there, bunch of updates, so I'm gonna walk through, give you guys kind of a rundown of what's going on. So on Jason's car, I'm getting it welded. Got about half welded. We decided to go ahead and order the K member so we can do the front with the with his carbon front end, so we could figure out how far to put the tubing on the front. And we're going to tie the front of the cage like we've done before, tie these into the K member, so that way you know, the whole front's tied together and nothing's a loose end. So I'm about half done, like I said, on this one, getting some of the welds done. So this one's getting there. Gavin started on the front end, got all this cut out, got holes which will get cleaned up, but that's about where that's going to come through. These cars are a little different than box bodies because of where the dash structure is, so a little different. Like I said, we're going to start offering this as a probably a welded chassis and a kit, so you guys stay tuned for that one. I know we've had a bunch of people asking about it, so yeah, stay tuned on that. All right, so for Scrap Guy I came, I was talking about this car. This is Joe Holt's, I forget the year, single turbo car. I'm not a huge Ford person, so I don't know the details on it. I know it's been 770s at 170, I believe. So this was an IRS car. He's been in the 120, you know, mid 120, 60-foot area, and I think he's just ready to be done spinning at every track. I know he travels, you know, he went to Darlington, and then I think he went down to Oklahoma to do some racing, and just the IRS stuff it's good for some things, but drag racing is not a thing it's particularly good at. So we are building him a 4-link setup, cutting the back tin out. This is his housing that I'm getting ready right now, welding up the 4-link brackets, doublers getting welded on. It'll be a wishbone setup. It'll have AFCO big guns on the rear. So Mark's currently getting everything cut out. These cars and the floor is pretty low, and I know he wants a low ride height, so trying to make that happen. So basically we're just taking everything in between the frame rails, and then we're going to set basically a #1 bar down at the bottom. It won't be tied into the actual cage because the cage is really far forward here, which is, it's a normal location for an 850 cage. So that's kind of what he's been working on. But like I said, we're just going to tie, you know, 2 bars, 1 bar down here in between these frame rails, and then 1 up above here that'll run along here. So and then I think we're going to run something up and back to give the rear some more support, because this car makes a good amount of power. I think it's like 1500, I think that's what he said. So you got to start looking at structural pieces at that point, because it's, you know, if you're making that much power, stuff's going to be moving around on a unibody car. So trying to brace it up as well as possible. So should be a pretty neat car when it's done. I don't know how many 4-link S4 550 cars there are in this generation, in this style. So I'm sure there's some out there that are full out blown drag cars, but this one still has AC and heat, so pretty neat setup. But yeah, it'll be pretty cool. I'm excited. It's always fun to do cars. This one will be a full setup, ready to race after we're done with it. So I know these two are it's Friday again.
Ready for lunch?
It's almost lunchtime.
It is lunchtime.
Gonna go get barbecue again. Guess I could show you the wheels that are going on that Mustang. So these are 15 by 12 with 3-inch backspace, so it'll be pretty neat. John's car is pretty much done welded. Mark, done.
Just a few spots I wrapped up the 8 pillars.
Yeah.
To look at.
So it's pretty.
Hard to replace it, but the rest of it's all done.
Yeah.
And the 2 bars, but we're waiting on those to be so.
Yep. So this one's all welded. I got to build. He had a housing that he bought from me a long time ago, so we're gonna make that one work with the 4-link. So I'll be basically doing everything that I'm doing over there for Joe's car on John's car, same rear end setup. So it'll be 4-link wishbone, and then we have some carbon tubs we ordered on the shop car, and yeah, that's gonna be a pretty cool setup also, because you know it's 4-link. Getting these cars light it's a challenge, but it's a pretty cool challenge. So you almost done cutting stuff?
Almost. I just got to go around the edges and cut all the spot welds off to get all the little brackets and things off from the cross member and the rest of the floor. But other than that, it is pretty much all ready to go. Maybe a little bit more trimming on the spare tire well once we get the housing in there.
Yeah.
And then I gotta notch the frame and stuff. But
yeah, if someone would get that housing done.
I know. It's taking forever. Not really. You started on it yesterday. Your eggs are doing pretty good.
All right. I guess let's go eat.
Lunchtime.
All right, what'd you work on tonight?
I worked on the Firewall hoop to start getting the double frame rail completed. Or the, quote unquote double frame rail.
So basically just doing the same thing that's in Mike's car, but we set this back a little further just because our our bell housing isn't so big, so this still lets us get our bolts out for the transmission, so we don't struggle with that. So we'll just make a tin filler strip around there, and that'll be tied back. That'll be our transmission tunnel pretty much. And then I've been working on mounting the front end, getting the top Zeus parts done. So those are rough cut, so I'm gonna go get some springs and get some Zeuses so I can hold this side down, and then I'll basically just work down the fender. So yeah, it's getting there.
Yep.
Little by little, 1 hour increments. I don't know, it's like 8:30, so
Yeah, we've been working on it for about 3 hours.
yeah, doesn't seem like get anything done ever, but
Right.
if we just keep putting in 3 hours, it'll be running and driving.
Yep. By September.
Yeah. But I think Mark's portions of that double frame rail is the last big fab thing to do. The rest of it is just tin work.
Yeah, tin work, scallop strips.
You gotta mount the passenger seat.
Yeah.
It's really, other than like the hot side, cold side.
Yeah, and it's the last big chassis related fab work.
Yeah.
You see it done.
Yeah, so update on the headers that I got. I was trying to save time and use these Flowtech headers down and forward. well, down and forward when you have a low slung front plate, doesn't really work. So if we went and trimmed this, there wouldn't be much left of a front plate. So we'll be building some headers.
Yep.
Which sucks because it's more time. It'll take me a while to build some headers, but at least they're just shorties and not full headers.
And they're not 2.5-inch primaries.
Yeah, yeah. And the header flanges are perfectly round.
On a big block.
Yeah, there's a lot more room. So basically, I'm just going to be making like shorty S10 headers. That's what I could describe them as. That's literally what they're going to be. So they'll just kind of exit down here, and then the turbo is down there. I'll probably rotate it up a little bit more, and then the compressor side outlet is right there, and it'll just go straight into the motor. So we're figuring out things now that we're starting to bolt stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
Our hood is about no inches away from the from the throttle body. So we'll have to figure out something. We might have to flip.
Hey,
Huh?
Rubbin's racing.
Yeah. You can flip those over, right? I think you can flip them over.
I would think so. You just have to figure out the linkage for the butterfly.
Yeah. Yeah, so this top piece is like hood. So, and the hood still has to come down like
1/8 of an inch.
1/8 of an inch. So we might try and flip this over, and that would give us the clearance. It would be really close to the top of the intake. And I don't know why it's so tall. The motor is really low.
And it's a low intake.
And it's a low intake.
It's a tall plenum though.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, is that any different than like the truck manifold?
It's probably a tiny bit taller right at the front.
Yeah.
But even a truck manifold would be up here.
Yeah.
Like I've got the fast LSXRT on my truck, and it's way up there.
But like mid plates in the same, like it's not like the motor is
right.
I mounted it too high. It's where it is. It doesn't help the car so low. It jacks the back of the motor up.
Yeah. Makes
it almost flat, running back to the rear end. Finding that radiator was god awful. I think it took me probably took me a solid weekend to find one that wasn't $600 and back ordered 5 months. So I think that one's a Griffin radiator. It's like their universal style. It was like $180 in stock, and it works. Hopefully it cools it. We're gonna find either one single fan or
2 small fans.
Yeah. Hopefully it cools all right.
Put a good shroud on it, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Especially with how open this is. But I think we're almost done for the night. I might come out in the morning and get those last nooses done. At least for the top. And probably be out here again tomorrow. Try and knock out some stuff this weekend. Not this weekend, this week. We're working on the rear fuel cell right now. I got the deck lid, bolted up and fit. So I still haven't done these top ones, but I just wanted to get these rear ones done so I could see where the top of the fuel cell needs to sit. So I'm trying to pack as much fuel as I can in here. So kind of have this semi awesome, CAD cardboard aided design here. So this is what I'm thinking. I just got to make sure it clears the shocks up there, but this is kind of the general shape, and then that bend right there is going to come under this rear deck lid, window mount, and the top will be, see if that stays. Top will be somewhere right here. So I haven't really calculated how much fuel it's gonna hold, but I think should be enough for like a 90, 93 octane something, just to cruise on. So I got the supervisor out here supervising all work, being approved and disapproved. I have to bribe her to be out here, right?
Yeah, because we gotta make our grocery list.
No, I needed her help shearing some 1/8" aluminum with the old 10 Smith over here. It's not the best at shearing 1/8", so I needed help moving this sheet around, and it's been a pretty big help. So I'm gonna get this bent where I think I need it with those 2 bends, and then I'm gonna build the sides and the top. So this is a lot easier when I can draw this up in SolidWorks and then just have it laser cut. It makes things a lot easier. So, but it's not too terrible. Yeah, I'm gonna get it cut, bent, and maybe we'll have a fuel cell.
What?
I said maybe we'll have a fuel cell.
Yeah.
Alright, so I didn't film much of the fuel cell making because it's late. My wonderful assistant is asleep in her chair.
I don't want to be like you.
Well, too bad. She's helped me get the sheets loaded up in the shear and stomped out, so got it pretty much where it's gonna be. Still needs obviously a filler. Probably gonna have like a carbon fiber latch on the deck lid, so I don't have to take the deck lid off every time I want to put fuel in it, but should be like 15 gallons as it sits right there. I kind of have it mocked up sitting on some sketchy blocks, but it's kind of what it looks like under the car. I think it'll work out pretty well. It's kind of one more thing checked off the list. All right, back out here. Sunday afternoon. Got the fuel cell back out of it. I'm making some brackets right now. Just these basic. I just took some L channel and or L bracket, the long. We have like a 6-foot stick of it, so I just cut off 2.5 inches, and so this is gonna sit like that. And I like these because they give plenty of surface area to weld to, so you don't have to worry about cracks and stuff and stress cracks. So we do weld our aluminum with 50-52, which is a little bit more forgiving on that aspect of it. 60-61 can crack. 50-52 is a little more, I don't know, ductile, I guess. Easier to bend too. That's probably the main reason why we get it. I can put bends and stuff and not have to worry about it cracking and stuff. So I just welded up these little sections right here because these brackets are going to sit like right over top of it. So I'm not going to weld the whole thing right now because I don't have a top filler hole yet. So if I go welding all of this up, when I finish it, the last little section is going to blow out and be a nasty mess. So going to get it mounted. And then I think we're going to do, I know like Aeromotive makes like a top hat style fuel pump deal. I thought about just doing 2 AN bungs on the back, but then we're not going to run this tank all the time. This tank will not be in the car at every race. That's just going to be for, you know, drag and drive type races. So we wanted everything to be modular and take out. So the only thing that will be left in the car is probably the fuel lines. And at that point, there's not going to be much of the fuel line. It'll just be 2 lines under the car, basically. So the top hat style, we're just going to run like a single 340 pump, just something that if we have to, you know, run the car on wastegate, you know, get on the highway or doing a sick burnout, it's just enough for like 4 or 5 pounds, whatever the wastegate spring is. So I'm going to get those brackets on there, and then we're going to set it back in the car, and then do the front mounts. So I'm kind of spoiled by the CAD stuff. So if we were doing this like in a customer's car, this would be completely drawn in CAD and we'd have it laser cut, but having to stomp everything out on the shear, it's not perfectly square. It's just how it put together, and I was not in a huge rush, but we're trying to get this thing done quickly, so I might figure out something on the front, because the front's a little, I guess, well, something on this is not square, so we're gonna have to come up with a little something, but not a huge deal. It's just this car is like, we're trying to get it together, so I just stomped this out. Didn't have to wait on, you know, laser cut, didn't have to wait on me drawing it. I just kind of whipped it together real quick. So like I said, I won't be in the car all the time, but the front fuel cell will be. So I gotta get the front brakes are not here yet. So I'm waiting on that, because when the tire turns, you know, left, that tire's gonna be tucked in there. So I wanna make sure we're not getting into any interference stuff. So that's kind of the objective today. I know we went over the list last night, kind of, you guys got to see. This all needs to be redone, but I think I'm going to work on probably, I'd like to get the steering column mounted, because we're gonna have to build headers for the car, like you guys know about that. So I like to get the steering column back in it, or not back in it, made, because we don't have anything made. So get that in there. Probably have to pull the motor back out, which kind of sucks, because I bolted all of that up to do the front cell, and I was like, well, I'm gonna wait until I get the brakes, get the wheels on. So probably pull this back out. It only takes a couple minutes to pull back out, just because I need to notch or drill a hole through the mid plate. I might be able to do it in the car. It just sucks a lot more. So not a huge issue. Just it's easier when it's not in the car, and I can just have the motor plate and take it in and out. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Trying to get a lot done today. Probably gonna be busting some ass on this coming up. I mean, Mark's been staying after. I've been working on the weekends. I don't have as much time on the weekdays as him. But I'm gonna try to get out here and start knocking some stuff out. Today's like June 6th, so we got, if we wanted to be testing by, I don't know, mid-August, to at least have some tests, that means we have about a month, 2.5 months, I guess. So a lot has to happen in that time. And like I said before, the parts issue, so trying to order stuff that we might need. But I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to get to work. Try and show you guys what we're working on. Hopefully I can try and keep it updated. It's a little tough to do videos and, you know, build stuff and move the camera around. And so it might get a little sporadic on what we're doing. But that's just because we're, you know, not filming everything. We're just getting it done. So I apologize, but it's kind of how it has to be if we're going to make this at all. It's going to be down to the wire type deal. So the only saving grace in that is Ryan Hoffman at Jolt. He offered to come down and completely wire the car. So that'll be a huge help. That'll take, you know, weeks off of our schedule if he comes down here, or when he comes down here to wire the car. That'll be a huge help. So once we get it to that state, we still got to figure out some type of paint for all the chassis. It might just get the inside painted and the rest of the car be bare, but we'll see once we get to that point. So, all right, enough talking. I'm gonna get to it. All right, so getting a few things done. Sorry if the dogs are loud in the background. Yeah, we just went and played tennis ball. So I got the fuel cell mounted, like I said. We have the we got Maddie over here just mopping the floor with her tongue. So I got this little piece. This is what I was talking about earlier. This needs to be built up to this level, so now they're even. I'll sand this little edge off and then sand all that. But got these all so you can still see them see those plates under there, but we're just spray paint over it. And you won't even know it's there. So still got to clean up some of these drops and stuff, so those will get sanded, but then just a coat of black and it'll be like nothing was there. So that's about it on the front end. I didn't mount the other side because this side was worse. So this is the side that we just did, that you guys just saw. She's worn out. So I had to build this side up more so even than this one, because there's a pad in here. I don't know where, so you can see it here. This is thin and this is thick, so it comes up here, but this side comes way down here, so I didn't have to add that extra. So I wanted to make it even before I went on continuing mounting the front end. But so fuel cell is in there. Like I said, we're probably gonna do like a top hat style fuel mount deal, so we can take this whole tank out between passes. So that would be pretty neat. Next thing I'm working on is getting the steering shaft mounted. I made this jig for Mike's car, actually, so I can mount the steering shaft wherever I need it. And I can sit in here. I got the pad in here, so I'm gonna sit in there, make sure it feels comfortable, and then we will we'll go from there. So I have a hole in the mid plate where that's gonna pass through, and it's pretty much dead smack in the middle, so I couldn't really notch either side, so we're just gonna rock a hole through it, so it'll come out here and just go down to there. So that's when we get done real quick. Right now I'm figuring out a steering wheel extension. Sorry about the mess. This is what happens when I'm trying to get a lot done all in one day. So I'll probably have a 4 or 5 inch extension. Not a huge fan of large extensions because you get a lot of leverage on these. It's just, you get a lot of leverage on this little piece, so it tends to rock around, and I'm not a fan of that. So I can crawl in and out. I don't have any issue with that. So I'll probably do like a 4 inch extension, kind of see what it's like, and then so I'm gonna get that welded up, at least get it tacked so I can see what I like, and then we will go about mounting the actual steering shaft. All right, got the steering shaft jig in here. Steering shaft is in there. The blank steering shaft is like this long, so I've already cut it down way back in here. The shaft will own I guess the outer sleeve will stay back behind the firewall, and then the inner actual shaft, which I just cut it down, so I'm gonna run this in here. It's a little bit hard to run this all the way down with one hand, but there we go. So I got this about to come through at that end. There we go. So I'll probably get it pretty well aligned in that hole. The only thing that sucks about this is to pull the motor, we're gonna have to pull the steering shaft, which isn't a huge deal because it's just a small coupler that'll be inside the car. There's just 2 Allen bolts that just come out, so you can just slide that back. We'll have to unbolt the steering shaft, but not a big deal. I'm hoping to not pull this motor every week. So so this is kind of what it looks like. This is tough to do with one hand, but you get the idea. So that'll be like that, and then the lower one's down there. So I'm actually gonna sit in here and make sure it feels right. I did get it set up, but after I had to take this out to cut it, and then this out to cut it also. And then I welded the splined portion of the steering wheel hub. So let me get in here And let me try and do this with one hand, which is always fun with the extension. Maybe. Might happen, might not. Let's see. Well, I might get it on tonight. Come on. There we go. All right. So got that on there. Basically, I'm just kind of aligning it down at the bottom. I'm pointing with my foot here. I'm just kind of pointing it through the hole and then making sure this feels pretty good. I like a steering wheel that's excuse me. I like a steering wheel that's kind of high up, not like down here in your legs and you're getting caught up, but up here. And then I also like to tuck my